Thank you for joining us and welcome to Cranfield University. Great to have you with us. Please stick around for what may be an hour, could be a little bit less. My name is Toby Thompson. I work here at Cranfield University in the fabulous Grenville Turner Studios. So hopefully you're interested in the Senior Leader Apprenticeship, and in particular, given the background that we have, logistics and supply chain management. If that's of interest to you, then you're in for a treat. Coming up in this hour, we're going to do a deep dive on the program, and then we're going to talk to some real students who have been currently on the program and have been on the program previously. Helping me understand the context of this program, I'm joined in the studio now by Dr. Soroosh Saghiri. Soroosh, it's great to have you with us. We're going to come back to you in a second because Soroosh has some slide material, as you'd expect, to go through the details of the program. Joining us also in the studio is Lauren Mason. Lauren can give a little bit more information around the details of the apprenticeship. There's Lauren, thank you for waving. And last but not least, and we're especially pleased to be joined by Sam, James and Benjamin. They're in the student cohort. There's James on the left, I think that's Sam in the middle and Ben on the right. So these guys, thank you for sticking around and answering what I hope will be a ton of questions around what's it like at Cranfield. So for those of you online watching, and for those of you certainly watching the recording, you missed a fantastic chance to ask these guys some real questions. But this isn't the last chance you have. We want to carry on the conversation, and you'll see scrolling across the screen throughout this webinar, contact details. Let's carry on that conversation. Stay in touch with us. You may also see on the text chat in Zoom, you know how that works, my colleagues Christina and Dominic, who may answer some of the questions that you have. So feel free at any time to type your question into the Zoom text chat, and we'll do our level best to try and answer those, either Soroosh, Lauren, or the students that you've seen. Soroosh, can I come to you first before you delve into the slide pack? Tell us more about you. How did you end up at Cranfield?
Yeah, sure. I joined Cranfield more than 11 years ago, I can say 2010, and it was after a number of years in other universities, but Cranfield is the center for logistics supply chain.
You would say that?
Yeah. No, that was for the history of that. Many of the professors in this area, they work here, they publish in this area, they invented many of these new concepts we know about them these days in logistics, procurement and supply chain. So that was the ideal destination for many people working in the area of logistics supply chain. They want to be in academia and be in supply chain. So that was quite successful move when I came here, and since then did a lot of things in all different teaching and research part, courses on full-time MSc and part-time, the course which I take care of that now.
So you're the director of?
Executive MSc in logistics supply chain, which is a part-time version of the full-time course.
So if that's of interest to you, please stick around. I know you've got some slides to share with us to talk about the program. Let's bring those up and just talk us through the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone, that you joined us and gave us your time. I give you a very brief introduction of the course, and then obviously leave the rest to my colleagues and our previous students, alumni and current students, if they want to share their views. And it's also open to questions you may have about the course. Starting not about the course specifically, but about Cranfield School of Management and what we are doing, the main motto of the course, and that's, I highlight that, transforming knowledge into action. So we emphasize this to show that this is not purely theoretical type of course you take. All our activities, whether in the research or consultancies, short courses and MSc courses, is about connecting these practical practical challenges companies have to these world of academia, and have a good connection between them, good synergy. So whatever we teach and we discuss here, it has lots of practical implications or connections. And this is coming from our very strong connection and good position with other industries through a number of well-established channels. We have research centers, we have the research clubs, as we call that Agile Supply Chain Club. We have short courses and programs which are connecting us with the industry, people coming from companies for a few day courses. We're joining the club, they are visiting us every few months, and we have the webinars or seminars for them. And they are also giving us lots of speeches, lots of webinars, and these good connection with them just help us to make sure what we are doing is very much connected to the business. Also very good information about the real challenges in the procurement, logistic and supply chain, and what we deliver to them also is something relevant and helpful for industry. So these connections has been always in Cranfield, and we carry on this successful journey and good connection with the industries in all different ways. We go further about the course. This is one of the very first courses in the world on supply chain and logistic, arguably the first one or maybe the second one, and for more than 25 years, and addressing wide range of topics on supply chain, procurement and logistics. And we try to constantly update them, make sure they are something relevant and helpful for industry. How we can reassure that? On top of those connections with the industry, we also have the triple accreditation. As you can see, Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, and ELA, European Logistics Association. The three of them accredited this course, and this for us is just much more than 3 labels or extra promotion for the course. It is reassurance that what we deliver here is something relevant and useful for the job market, for those professional bodies. So the whole course actually go through the annual review by them, and this is how they can re-accredit this course. That's one of the valuable outcomes for the course. And for students, it makes the students part of this big network of logistics, supply chain and procurement. They can have the membership of these as professional bodies when they are part of the course, and of course after that they will be qualified to be a full member of that. Specifically for SIPs, for example, they can have the full membership as a result of this MSc, and similarly for the CILT and ELA. In terms of structure, this is the part-time course delivered in short weeks, actually in delivered number of weeks over the course of 2 years. It gives people a very good flexibility to work, because I can say all or majority of our students in this course, they are working full-time with lots of other responsibilities. In the same time, they want to enhance their knowledge and capabilities in the area of supply chain. And this is how they pick us. And we give them this good structure of the course to be flexible enough. They travel to Cranfield for certain weeks. Those block teaching help them to fully concentrate on the study, and then back to work, back to the normal life. In the same time, they are still in touch with us, working on the activities, and then back to the next one. This is the structure of the course, if I can show you here, year 1 and year 2, and it shows how people traveling or should be involved in those study weeks. Overall, now we have 6 study weeks, and 5 of them are attending. 1 of them gives you even further flexibility when we deliver them live online. So it is more than just having some online material. Students should join the lectures online and then deliver lots of, be part of this live delivery of the topics. If you take a look at the details, I don't want to go through all the modules, but overall there are 12 specialist modules on supply chain, logistics and procurement, and they cover a wide range of topics, quite comprehensive. It's very difficult to say we address everything, but we constantly update the content. We make sure there are elements of sustainability, those key elements of Industry 4.0, supply chain digitalization, they are all added, and very frequently we update the content. And in terms of the content, again, I can say it's quite thorough and give them a good knowledge of wide range of topics in procurement, logistic and supply chain. Towards the end, as you can see, the whole teaching period is about 15 months or so, and then if you join through the apprenticeship, you go through the endpoint assessment, which is happening about 4 to 6 months after the end of this part, this third part, and then you decide to go further for the MSc, which involves the research method modules, and they're doing the thesis project, which I address to that later. And altogether, you will have the MSc in logistics and supply chain management. Just one point, because those gaps between the study weeks, we keep you engaged, and the students should be part of this ongoing communication with the lecturers. They have assignments. This is how we assess the performance of the students. All modules have assessment attached to them, except one of them they have assignment, and one of them, which is finance accounting, it has exam. And we try all different ways to assess the performance and progress of our students. Those assignments keep the students busy, and I think our previous students and current one, they can give you a better idea how much time they spend on this, but our understanding is about 8 hours a week, but it might be a bit higher or lower depending on the topic and the interest of the students and how tough that particular assignment is. You are not on your own. Students joining us, and they have the full support of our faculty members. They will be allocated the supervisor at different steps and stages of their study, and they have access to our online material. And on top of that, the library, lots of databases there for them to support their learning assignments, and at the end for the thesis project. So altogether, we think this is a quite good learning environment for our students. And I need to highlight that although you are coming here for those study weeks, but our students are more than welcome to be in Cranfield more than those study weeks, and whenever they want to see the lecturers, supervisors, or visit the library, of course, all the facilities are available to them. A quick snapshot of our student or student profile. You can see that in terms of work experience, on average 10 years, a bit more, sometimes a bit less. And we have students, younger people, who just started with just few years of experience, but they have that confidence and plan to go ahead and have their capabilities and the skills in a higher level, and that's why they join the course, and they have a good support of the employer, so they decide to go, and there is nothing to stop them. Obviously, we accept them, and we have some people with many more years of experience, but they were not specifically the MSc level. They want to learn more about supply chain, logistics, or procurement, and enhance their knowledge. So that's the average figure, but we have all different type of people, younger and older, and they're coming from all around the world. Although COVID made some changes recently, we have more local people and some European. In the past, we have people traveling from all around the world. We hope we can back to that combination, but this is a summary of what we have in the recent years, and quite a small group. Due to COVID, the number was shrinking, but we on average usually have about 20, 25. Some cohorts we have even 30, 35 or 40, but we keep that quite small. It helps us to give a better education experience and learning experience to our students. We take care of them one-to-one with those supervisors and lecturers, and altogether I think that's quite good experience for the students. I need to highlight that we are one of the very few courses, I can say, across the country that all our faculty members, whether they are full professors, senior lecturers, associate professors, lecturers, younger and older people, they're all engaged in teaching and being part of the team. So, and you can see lots of different levels of experience and knowledge from our people. Some of them quite good in very advanced technologies, for example, some areas around artificial intelligence, data science. Some others, they have very good leadership skills and backgrounds. So a good combination of all of them make this learning experience quite good for our students. And a quick list of all those companies joined us before. Of course, I don't go through them, but you can see combination of manufacturing, service, combination of public sector and private sector from UK and all around the world. The UK market, or UK students mainly at the moment using or benefiting from the Apprenticeship Levy, which we go back to that later, which covers the tuition fee. But if you are here and you're listening to this presentation and you are not from the UK, still the course is run for all different type of students. There are just small differences how you make the application, but the course is open for all applicants from all around the world, including the apprenticeship one from the UK. Why somebody should take such a course? It's quite tough. If you are working full-time, lots of responsibilities. Many people in that age with that level of experience, they have other commitments, family commitment and other things. And this is something on top of them. So this is not an easy decision. You should think a lot about that in advance. Make sure you have the commitment of the employer, and also you have a very clear plan what you want to do for next 2 years, how you can allocate those 8 hours a week, and then go ahead with that. With all of these challenges, but the result will be quite rewarding. A good company of other experts, so it's not about Cranfield, it's about other people around you, other students, which is one of the main advantages. So you learn a lot from people from other countries, from other industries, all interested or those who have been in supply chain logistic procurement for many years. So that's a very good network you built, and this is a network for life. So I usually emphasize this part of that. Obviously, as a basic element of any MSc, you have access to this good knowledge of supply chain and logistics, which we enhance that all the time thanks to connection with the industry, and also thanks to our very good colleagues who are doing the very advanced research on these topics. There are also connection and immediate results out of what you do for your organization, because many of these assignments are defined based on your real life challenges, whether it's a real life challenge on the procurement side or freight transport, or maybe one of those analytical techniques you are learning in our modules, and then you try to implement them in practice, which can be something very much relevant. The case you prepare for your endpoint assessment is something very much related to the real life problem, and at the end the thesis project can be or can tackle one of those major challenges in the company, and that is a good opportunity for you to address that with the support of the company and supervisor in Cranfield, and go ahead with that and have something tangible as an outcome for the company. I talk about apprenticeship. These are the some pictures of our very successful cohort. The result of the 2021 will be out very soon. The result is out actually, but the officially will be released, and then we can have the announcement of that. But this is a cohort before that, a very, very good result. All the around two-thirds of them received distinction and merit results, and that was just the apprenticeship part of that. All our students, of course, successfully finished the MSc with very good results out of the studies and also the thesis projects. And one last point before I finish my presentation is the connection with the industry. Part of that is study tour. COVID-19 again stopped many of these activities, but we had it for many years, and we plan to have them back to travel around the world for a week or so and visit some of those supply chains which are run globally. There are lots of challenges now around global supply chains, so it's good to learn from other places. We went to Turkey, Ghana, Indonesia. This is a picture from, I think, Thailand, and before that we had in Shanghai. So there are a number of places we visited. At the moment, if you join us, possibly the destination will be somewhere not very far due to all these, constraints around us. But we certainly run that study tour for those who want to do that. It's voluntarily, by the way, and give us a good taste of global or cross-border supply chains. I think that's me, but you are more than welcome through the session today or later. Just contact me and visit the website, and we can have one-to-one discussion. If you want your company to be involved in this discussion to see how the whole process of application works, I'm happy to have that type of meeting. And also I can have the small presentation for you and some other colleagues if they want to go through this information again in further detail. Thank you very much.
Soroosh, thank you. Gosh, you got me excited about supply chain now. I'm really excited to talk to the students, but before we do that, we're going to find out a little bit more about the apprenticeships themselves, and I'm going to hand over to Lauren to do that. Lauren, can you give us a little bit more information about the apprenticeships?
So Soroosh has gone through and broken down the actual course structure. So we should just get some slides coming up to talk you through. So I said the apprenticeship programme is part of the Senior Leader Standard, and in regards to that, it is a part-time programme, and you will use your off-the-job time from the apprenticeship to study towards that. And in regards to the funding, for the apprenticeship funding, the eligible organisations would use £14,000 from their levy pot to cover the Part 1, which is the Part 1 up to Gateway. And then there would be a top-up fee, which is the Part 2, which would cover the thesis and complete the MSc for yourself and for your employee. So Cranfield University itself has over 1,200 apprentices on level 7 postgraduate apprenticeships. That's a range of different programmes and using the support of teaching staff, apprenticeship tutors, and the course staff is there to support all of these apprentices through their the whole course of study and through their endpoint assessments. So we've had over 400, nearly 500 now, who've successfully completed their endpoint assessments and gone through their gateway. And we've had 100% pass rate from those. I said 99% of those have passed at their first attempt, and that's a credit to the course staff and the apprenticeship tutors, obviously the apprentices themselves for the hard work, but also the employers that have supported them through the apprenticeship programme and assisted them with their off-the-job time and applying the knowledge, skills and behaviours of the apprenticeship to the course. I said apprenticeship eligible organisations in England will be able to use their apprenticeship levy to fund the course. I said that would be £14,000 from the levy to fund the part 1 of the apprenticeship programme, and those that do not have a levy pot would be able to look at options to use the co-investment to fund the apprenticeship. So in regards to apprenticeship, you do have to be eligible, whether that's the organisation themselves or an apprentice, and the eligibility is set out by the Education and Skills Funding Agency. So in regards to an apprentice and an opportunity for them to study, it does need to have an identified training need with regards to your current role or your future role, and it would be that you need to make sure that you'd be able to learn the knowledge, skills and behaviours required to meet the senior leader standard, and that you would have the opportunity to implement those into your workplace and into your current or future role. And also, excuse me, in regards to eligibility, you would have to be either a UK resident or meet the current visa requirements for that set by the Education, Skills and Funding Agency. So you would have to be here on a work visa. It wouldn't be a study visa for an apprenticeship. And what we do ask is that the visa does have 6 months remaining prior to the end of the apprenticeship end date, and that's just to make sure that if for any reason you need to resit a module or you need to take a break in your learning, it gives you time to complete that as well without having to worry about any visa conditions before the end. And then another eligibility criteria is that you do need to make sure you spend a minimum of 50% of your working time in England. So that's if you're on the borders at all, you need to make sure that 50% of your working time during the apprenticeship is in England. And then the other bit of the eligibility is that you need to be able to commit for the whole duration of the apprenticeship, including the endpoint assessment. So that's the 15 months plus the 5 to 6 month gateway time before you take the endpoint assessment. You need to be able to commit to those, attending the study days, attending the week blocks, taking your 20% off the job time and committing to the apprenticeship and the study. And one big thing with the apprenticeship is it has to be done with employer support. So the employer is there to support, commit and engage with yourself and with the apprentices and with Cranfield University throughout the study, and to make sure the off-the-job time is taken, and also the knowledge, there is opportunity for the student to apply the knowledge, skills and behaviours into the workplace and to continue learning while not just at Cranfield. I said in regards to the Senior Leader Apprenticeship in Logistics and Supply Chain Management, I said employer support is crucial. So the employer starts off the application process and then it continues with the applicant themselves. And even throughout the programme, we ask that the apprentices are provided with a workplace mentor who will assist them throughout the programme, who will be there to support them, maybe provide some new projects or opportunities to then apply the knowledge, skills and behaviours they've learned, and then make sure they've got the opportunity to use that off-the-job time, not just at attending Cranfield, but also for the assignments and studies while at home too. As I said, it's work-based application of the set knowledge of skills, behaviours and knowledge, skills and behaviours from the Senior Leader Apprenticeship Standard, and that is first assessed through your initial assessment. So part of the application process, we'll ask all potential apprentices to complete an initial assessment and kind of set a baseline score of your current knowledge, skills and behaviours. And the idea is that baseline would be quite low right now, because the idea is that you're going to have the opportunity to learn and progress and develop those knowledge, skills and behaviours during the apprenticeship and during your learning, and the idea is at the end and you would be at the top end of the scale. So we'd review your knowledge, skills and behaviours against the Senior Leader Standard throughout your time at Cranfield and through your apprenticeship, through progress reviews with your apprenticeship tutors and your mentor, and we would go through and just see how you're progressing and how you're developing against the standards. And then a big part of an apprenticeship is the 20% off the job's hours. So that would be classed as the weeks you attend here at Cranfield for your course study. That would be taking into account assignments, group projects. It would also be when you attend any new projects that you can apply your learning to within work. So it's not just your physical time at Cranfield, but it is also all the opportunities to study and learn and engage outside of that as well. I said if you have any questions, then you can contact us through Apprenticeships at Cranfield, and employers and also apprentices can contact us. So if you have any questions in regards to applying, if you have any questions in regards to the levy or anything like that, please do contact us using the details below and we'll be able to answer any questions for you.
Lauren, thank you. Just to reiterate that point, Lauren's point, please contact us on that email address. Lauren, there's a first question that hopefully you'll be able to answer. It's from Helen. And Helen's asking, are you able to provide an indication of the cost for the part 2, the endpoint assessment, e.g. the thesis?
Yeah, so the endpoint assessment is included in the apprenticeship levy, so that is included as part of your apprenticeship. The part 2, which is the thesis to top up for MSc, I believe that is £5,000. I think Soroosh can confirm that. It is £5,000 top up, which would be paid either by the student themselves or by the employer. However that support was given, it would be outside of the levy, and once the apprenticeship is finished, that's the top up fee for the MSc.
Lauren, thank you. And Helen, you got a double answer there. You got Christina, my colleague, in the text chat, and you got it from the horse's mouth, as it were, here. So thank you, Helen. I'm really excited to turn now to the students to find out more about, Soroosh, what you talked about was, you said it was tough. It's quite tough. And I want to go to Ben.
Demanding, anyway.
Demanding, okay. So Ben, can I come to you first? Ben is on the right of your screen there. Soroosh said it's tough. Is that true, those study weeks?
Hi, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. I would say that, yeah, it is challenging because obviously you're in your working environment and then you've got to try and take yourself out of that working environment to then put yourself into the space of learning and potentially learning subjects that you may not be dealing with on your day-to-day work. But I guess what you need to do is you just need to be prepared for that. So just making sure that when you're going into your lectures or before your lectures, that you're doing your pre-reading, that you, I guess from my own perspective, really, that it's helped me become more organised in how I manage my own work life and my own personal life as well. That I'm making sure that I'm giving myself plenty of time to do the pre-reading, plenty of time to make sure that I'm up to date on the topics that are going to be discussed. And when you're in the lectures as well, they can be quite challenging because you're taking on quite a lot of information in a short space of time, and it's good. And the way I found to learn or to understand topics is always make sure that you're asking questions. Always make sure that you're speaking to your other members of your cohort around their experiences around the particular subjects that you're working on, and that eventually becomes easier over time. But yeah, the course is challenging, and it has definitely tested me in some areas, such as statistics that I don't use in my day-to-day job. But it's also when you actually learn and get your head around a topic like that, it becomes quite rewarding as well. So whilst it's challenging, it is very rewarding at the same time.
And Ben, I've got to ask you, since you're the current student on this course, on this call at least, why choose Cranfield?
Well, it was kind of a bit of a journey for me, really. So I actually started to do I've actually already done my MSIPs. So I was trying to look for my next step. I've always wanted to achieve a master's within my personal life and working environment. And I actually did some research so I currently work as a supply manager for Network Rail. So I actually did some research into the different master's courses, and then Cranfield really stood out to me, really. I mean, I think as Soroosh mentioned earlier, that it's one of the leading courses for supply chain and logistics in Europe, if not the world. And it's been a course that's been going for 25 years. So I think that that really kind of sold it to me, really, just having that experience within the university, and also doing my research on some of the lecturers and the actual program and modules, really made me want to join Cranfield and take this opportunity to be able to complete my my masters with them in supply chain management and logistics. And one of the other things I did as well was in Network Rail, we do have a number of other previous students from Cranfield, so I did take the time to speak to them first before then approaching Cranfield directly, just to make sure that the course was right for me and it's been the right fit, and I knew that from my own career progression and what I want to achieve long term, that the course fitted my own goals and aspirations as well.
Ben, thank you. Stick around. James, I'm going to come to you. You're an alumni, right? So you finished the course. Tell us about your experience and where you are now.
Thanks. So the role I joined the course on was quite a niche trade compliance focused role. And since then, I've been able to step into let's call it a more mainstream demand planning, forecasting role. And I think over the challenges we've all seen with COVID over the last couple of years, I've been able to challenge people a lot more on the supply chain problems that are out there in the world, having this more rounded view of things. Obviously, to come onto the course, you need some background in supply chain, but coming onto the course and since then, it's just widened my knowledge into so many different areas of procurement, warehousing, logistics, areas I didn't have that experience of before. And with all these problems we're having at the moment, to sort of understand a bit more about sort of order picking methods in warehousing, I can then go to our warehousing managers and say, well, hey, have you thought about X, Y, and Z to sort of improve some of the problems we're seeing? And most of the time they are already looking at it, don't get me wrong, but at least then I know I've pushed the right buttons, I've challenged them to see that we're getting the right solutions out there to try and get ahead of ourselves on all of these problems we're seeing in supply chain.
And Sam, can I come to you? Because James was talking there about more confidence, more strategic confidence, and Ben was talking about being more organised. Tell us about the highlights for you on the course and where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Toby. I think for me, unequivocally, one of the highlights was absolutely the standard of the lecturing, for sure. Kind of dissimilar to James, I actually had a very limited background within supply chain. Most of my career to date was actually spent in food retail, but actually not in the category side of things, not in the supply chain side of things. And I'd made the move into the Lego Group, into a supply chain role, and basically I felt I needed to bridge the gap quite quickly in my learning and in my knowledge. And I think what I found quite quickly was the level of expertise and the knowledge and the experience from the lecturers and the professors at Cranfield really shone for me. I think another highlight that I'd probably need to call out as well was the actual sort of, I won't say the bonding, but the kind of support and the affiliation with the rest of your cohort was actually a really strong experience for me as well, and a real highlight, because you've got different people coming from completely different backgrounds. You know, you've got people like me. I work in a toy manufacturing industry and had very little supply chain background. You've got other people that have spent their entire career in supply chain and were quite high up in the hierarchy as well. So you had a real breadth of experience within the cohort itself, and you could really lean into people. And I think the sort of intense study weeks really helped that, because yeah, for sure, you know, that's really hard work. You know, you're in lectures, you know, 9 till 5, 8 till 5, you know, and it's hard going at times, but you do have those moments in the evening where you can actually, you know, you can grab a drink with someone, you can grab dinner with someone, and you can get to know their experience as well. So I think for me, it was double pronged. Absolutely the strength and the quality of the lecturing, but also the networking and the understanding of the different perspectives from your cohort were absolute standouts for me in terms of highlights.
And Ben, Sam was talking there about networks, and I heard Soroosh earlier talk about network for life. How does that manifest? Are you spending all your lunch hours talking to other people? Are you on chat all night? How does that look?
Yeah, so I have to echo what Sam and James said there. Both I'm very agreeable with what they said in regards to Cranfield, like the quality of the lecturers. Again, that network is very important. We've even got a WhatsApp group between us where we're asking each other questions, whether it's work related, whether it's study related, and that type of thing. So when we're not on site, we're in constant contact with each other and asking each other different questions to help us understand subjects better. Or that it might be that, I think, as Sam said, that where you're meeting people from different industries, they may be doing something similar to yourself, or may have a similar challenge that they've overcome that you can potentially learn from, and bring that learning into your own organisation through that discussion and networking with your cohort. But I think generally when we are on site, it is quite intense. So you are sharing your experiences with them, and you're learning from each other as time goes on. So again, on when you have your breaks and your lunch times, that you are generally talking about like the subject of supply chain and logistics, because it might be that you're having a lecture on strategic procurement, and you might be able to share some examples with some of your colleagues that may not have experience with that. And sometimes you find yourself coming on the lead in certain topics because that's where you have more experience in, and then others will be able to help guide you because they may be more experienced in warehousing and stuff like that. So you really work together to give yourself a more rounded view of supply chain management. And the logistics subject as a whole, really, and I think that networking is crucial, and it really is really helping me gain the benefits throughout the course currently at the moment, and I can see those relationships lasting beyond our current cohort. Although we do have 2 years to go, but we're all quite close already, and we all work really well together. So yes, I completely echo those points there from Sam and James.
Guys, stick around because we've got a ton more questions for you. It sounds like from what you've all said, it's a life-changing experience. Let's get into some nitty-gritty in terms of funding. Can you talk a little bit more about funding, and maybe it's a Lauren question as well? What do you know about the funding side?
Yeah, I can give you some taste of how it works, but Lauren might be the best person to add some details or technical elements. But overall, if you're in the UK and based on all those conditions that Lauren went through, you can apply for this apprenticeship. You just need to have this conversation with your company, and if they are qualified for that, they start this communication with our apprenticeship team, and then it will approve that yes, you can, or your study, £14,000 of that will be paid by the apprenticeship levy, and then on top of that, for the rest, which is 5,000, is for the MSc paid by the company separately or by yourself. It covers all the cost of MSc in total, but if you are not apprenticeship students from outside the UK, again, the fee is there, but there are some arrangements depending on your conditions, and we can talk about that, but this is how the fee structure of the course is.
Soroosh, thank you. Lauren, perhaps you can add to that. What can you say more about funding?
Yeah, just echoing what Soroosh said, it's the main thing is the £14,000, which is for your levy fee. Or if your employer is a non-levy, then it can be funded through co-investment, and we can have that discussion with you to discuss the process of obtaining that. But it's the £14,000 is done through the levy pot, and your employer would know whether they are levy or non-levy, and they would just progress from there. And they said the 5,000 top up at the end is just to top up for the MSc, and that is funded by either the employer or the individual. That's not something that is covered by the levy.
And James, Sam and Ben, perhaps I can come to you in terms of funding. Which routes did you take, and are there any recommendations on how easy? James, you first.
So I went through the apprenticeship route. I think back when we started, the rules were perhaps a little different back then. But yeah, I went through the apprenticeship route, which in itself is it's not probably another course, but it is some additional work on top. And for the funding that you get for it, I thought it was well worth it, and B, the extra qualification in that you'll get that level 7 apprenticeship, which you can then use to join institutes such as the Chartered Management Institute or ILM. For me, I thought that was the best route for me to take, really.
And Sam, your funding route?
Yeah, exactly the same as James's, to be honest. Yeah, I did the apprenticeship levy as well, and that was something that was offered to me through the business that I work for. And to be honest, yeah, I mean, I thought that it was great value for money. I know it wasn't my money, easy for me to say, but I think you really can see the quality of what you're getting for the money that is being spent to give you this education. So, and to be perfectly honest with you, Toby, without that apprenticeship levy, I wouldn't have done it. I really wouldn't. And echoing what James says about the level 7 mastership, yeah, that's a significant amount of extra work as well. And I don't think if anybody's listening in today that is considering this, absolutely 100% would definitely advocate that route. Just don't underestimate the extra work that's included in that, because it's a qualification in its own right, and should be treated as such, for sure.
And Ben, Sam was talking about it's not my money. Was it your money? Are you self-funded?
No, so again, I was similar to Sam and James there, where I my employer was able to have access to the Apprenticeship Levy, and my employer's also agreed. So hopefully when I've finished the postgraduate diploma, my employer's also agreed to also fund the additional funding for the full MSc, which I'm really fortunate about. But I have to echo what Sam said there. I think the qualifications and the experiences that you get for the money that you're giving, I think is definitely value for money. Definitely over the last 6 months, I've been on with Cranfield. I've definitely grown. I've definitely learning a lot more, and I'm still going on that journey as well. So yeah, I don't really have much more to add than that really. But all I can say is it's definitely value for money. I've definitely grown over the last few months, and then I'll hopefully continue to grow until the course is out, and then from that learning I'll be able to take that beyond. So yeah.
Gosh, Ben, thank you. That's tremendous. And this gentleman, some tremendous feedback there for Cranfield, so thank you again. Soroosh, we've talked about the MSc and the apprenticeship, the difference between the two?
It was MSc for many years. Then this opportunity arose that the course can be funded by that apprenticeship, because we mapped that against that level 7 leadership standard. So that was a great opportunity for companies to use that levy fund to fund their students for this course. Having said that, it is the MSc and apprenticeship together, so they can have both at the end, those who are coming from this route. At the moment, to map that against that fee structure, the organization of the course is like that, starting with all those taught elements, those 12 modules I shared earlier in my slides. And when they finish, it is equivalent to postgraduate diploma. If somebody, for whatever reason, they don't want to carry on for MSc, they have this qualification from Cranfield, postgraduate diploma. They can back and do the MSc in a later time. And obviously they go to the endpoint assessment of the apprenticeship and will have that qualification too. And those who are ready to carry on with the MSc doing the thesis project, that will make them or give them that MSc, which is quite valuable elements of the course.
Soroosh, thank you. I want to come back to demographics of class sizes in a second there, but Lauren, can I come to you first? There's a question around the interview process and do you need a degree? Tell us more about the application process.
Yeah, so in regards to the application process, in regards to the apprenticeship, it all starts with your employer. So it is requiring an employer support to begin this process. So we would ask them to complete what we call an expression of interest. The link to that is also on our website, but we can send that to you if you have any questions in regards to it from an email. And they would make an expression of interest to let us know that they're interested in the course. They have employees that they may want to upskill, or they want to hire someone into that role, and we would begin from there. So they would go through the first bit of the process. They would do the expression of interest, then we'd ask them to do what we call a due diligence, and what that is just to start the ball rolling with a conversation about funding, identifying whether they are a levy or non-levy payer. If they are non-levy, then we can discuss further what that means in regards to co-investment and what that means to reserving funds to begin with the course. And then after we've ironed that out, that's when we would get the student involved themselves, and we would send out the application process. And after that, we would do the initial assessment, which is the eligibility checking. While in regards to having a degree, it is obviously a level 7 qualification. However, based on your own individual experience, it might not be necessary to have that degree in place first, but that's something that would be discussed with the course leads upon your application. So do not have it put off if you don't have a degree. Please do still apply, and the course leads and course director would have a look at your individual application and see if your experience and your background would still apply and you would still be able to be put forward.
Lauren, thank you. James, Sam and Ben, Lauren just talked about the expression of interest thing there with your employer. How was that? Was that seamless for you? Were you involved in that? Did you have to prompt your employers? James first.
So for me, it was a prompt to my employer. It was myself who found the course. It was something I was looking out for at that time, and it was something I prompted my HR team and my line manager first of all. So I went through to my line manager, said, hey, I want to grow into the supply chain world. I want to learn a bit more. Put it down as part of my development program. And then went through the internal steps I needed to at Cummins to get that pushed through onto the apprenticeship piece and then through onto Cranfield.
And Sam, your experience, were you involved in that, or was it left entirely to your employer?
Yeah, it was actually completely different to James, to be fair. the opportunity was one that was given to me, and not one that I went and sought out myself. I had spoken about looking for development in the area of supply chain, but it was you have to apologise, my dogs are fighting in the background there. But it was an opportunity that my leader brought to me. They'd been speaking to Professor Richard Wilding actually at an event, and he was discussing that with them, and they thought it was a great idea to share to the wider team and to see if anybody was interested in taking that journey forward. And I and two other colleagues put our hands up, and we were successful in the application process.
Ben, quickly moving on from Sam's dogs there in the background. How was that? Were you involved in that process, or had nothing to do with you?
No, so it's kind of a mix of the two, really. So for me, similar to what James was saying, I had a personal development plan, personal to me for some time, and within my organisation, which is Network Rail, if you have an aspiration to do a master's of some kind on your personal development plan, has been on there for a while, and you can demonstrate that you've got to that level where you can justify Network Rail investing in you for such a program. Then they're quite supportive. But I had to do like a lot of the research, a lot of the so I had to fill out some internal documents and some guidance within Network Rail, and to kind of get that approved by various people within HR, and also the director of my team as well. But as I've already demonstrated through my personal development plan that I was ready for such a course, they was very supportive of that. And I believe that Network Rail have already had previous people come on this course, but also we have other alumni and current students with Cranfield as well. So it's quite a good relationship there already. So mine was a bit of personal development, but also had to do a bit of work internally to sort of justify why the course would benefit me, but also what benefits my employer would get from me from doing the course as well. So it's kind of a bit of a mix between Sam and James's experience in regards to getting myself onto the course, and I would have to say that the support received from Cranfield, and obviously one of the things I did do was I spoke to Soroosh for about a good 40 minutes beforehand as well during my application, just to make sure that it was the right course for myself, and that again that myself and my employer was going to get a benefit from it. So I made sure I did like my research as well, not only within Network Rail to jump through the different steps to get on the course and get approval internally, but also with Cranfield as well, to make sure that I've got everything aligned, and that I was in a good place to then start.
Ben's bigging you up there. I've got to hand over to you at that point.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to highlight, because my colleague addressed a number of things, to highlight that if you are not sure whether your company is qualified for that or not, or they have access to the levy fund or not, the best people to approach are people in HR department or the training department if you have, rather than your line manager, because they may not be fully aware of all the details, but certainly HR people can have a better advice for you. And something which I needed to highlight a bit more, and you may have question about that, about the entry requirements, which is quite flexible for those people who have the good background and who are really keen and think this course is suitable for them. We may go through the interview process to reconfirm that, but if you have the first degree, and usually in a relevant topic, and this means a wide range of topics, and also have at least 2 years of work experience, this qualifies you for this starting the course. But we have people who were not in the area of supply chain, or they don't have that much confidence in terms of previous qualifications. They may feel that it is not that much relevant. So drop in an email, we can discuss that, because we have some other different ways to make sure you can start it, or if you cannot, again, we can reconfirm that. And the very last point, the first degree is not a must to start the course. If you have several years of work experience in the supply chain area, logistic, procurement, or anything around that, even without the first degree, going through the assessment and the quick interview, we can identify if you're the right person for the course and if the course is suitable for you, and then we can offer you a place in this course.
Thank you. Let's roll those contact details again, just to make sure that you carry on that conversation with us. There's a question, Lauren, from Joseph, which hopefully you'll be able to answer. Joseph is asking, regarding the application process itself, should my references be academic, professional, or a combination of both? What do you recommend, Lauren?
I would say a bit of both. I said in regards to the application process, that's what we go through with our admissions team, and if there is any issues with your references, they would obviously come back to you and ask for any different ones. But I said the references you've got, academic and current employer, then that would then support your application, and any issues they would obviously always come back to you.
Brilliant. Keep those questions coming. Soroosh, I've got a question on funding, going back again. Are there any scholarships for the self-funded individual?
We have something between 10 to 20% of the fee for the very strong applicants. So that is going through the interview with the applicant, and then we make a decision about that. So it's not full scholarship. This is a very extremely popular course, but we always encourage people from all different backgrounds, from all around the world, and we are happy to have keep diversity of the course, and we hope that these small scholarship can encourage people to join us. Yes, please approach me and then we can discuss that.
And Soroosh, there's a question from Joe. Joe's asking, what are the time commitments? You've kind of talked about it being quite heavy. And the teaching methods. Say more about that.
Yeah, the time commitments, when you are on campus, I think Sam addressed that actually, that it is starting from 8, 9 to 5. Actually, it is 8:30 to 6 o'clock most days. And we have some evening seminars, speakers coming from industry for some extra training, extra networking and so on. So it keeps you quite busy during those weeks, and we strongly recommend to have those study weeks totally free for the course. Between those study weeks, the time commitments, on average, 8 hours a week, but it might be a bit more demanding for some topics when you work on the assignment, for some of them less. Teaching methods, we try to be quite innovative, and thanks to our very good faculty, they always try different methods of the different type of business games. We are joining with some external companies. They are delivering some of those simulation games for us. It is not, I can say that, it is not just one lecturer standing there and talking and other just taking some notes. We are very far from that style of teaching. Lots of interactions, case studies, real cases developed by ourselves or other companies. We make it quite, as I mentioned, quite challenging, demanding, in the same time a joyful experience when you're here and when you are on your own study at home.
Soroosh, thank you. I see Dominic has just put in a whole ton of links in the text chat, so do follow those if you want to find out about rankings, how to apply, even a virtual tour if you're interested in that, and some blogs from students. I'm going to come to Lauren, if I could, for 2 questions. One I think you can answer quite quickly. Can you pause partway through a program? And the second question, how are apprenticeships supported throughout the program?
Yeah, so if you are on apprenticeship, you can take a pause, what we call a break in learning. So if for any reason you're finding yourself that you need to take a break and step away, as long as that break is for at least 4 weeks, we can pause the program. So you would, as long as your employer also agrees to that, so you would pause the program and then recommence at a time that is one, suitable for yourself, but also would fit in line with your program that you left. So you may return with a different cohort potentially, or the same cohort. It depends on your own circumstances and the break you took, but it can be paused and then come back.
Oh, sorry, just for quickly following on, Lauren, is the program available to those outside the UK?
It's as long as they meet the entry requirements. So the requirements are that you've lived in the UK for 3 years or more, that you are here on a work visa, not a student visa, and or you're UK national. So if you are outside of the UK and don't meet the apprenticeship eligibility requirements, then you are still available to take it on through the self-funded route.
Thank you. Soroosh.
Yeah, I just wanted to address that it's open for all applicants, and they can do that. And in terms of flexibility, if you can pause at some point and come back, on top of those requirements of the apprenticeship, if you meet them, and it is possible from the structure of the course perspective, it is possible because you can come back with the next availability, usually next year with the next cohort, or sometimes if you run that in 2 cohorts, you can even do that quicker. So that gives you extra flexibility and carry on and finish the course sometimes on time, sometimes a bit later, but at least you can do a number of things when you are doing the course.
Thank you. I'm going to come back to the students, if I may, and just ask you, and starting with James, your recommendations. I mean, the audience here are people who are thinking of doing the course that you've done already. What are your recommendations if you were putting yourself back in their shoes?
So I think For me, the first thing is like we've mentioned about the amount of time it's going to take. Just make sure that you've got that sort of set aside from your personal life, and you've got sort of adequate weekends and evening time to complete the assignments when you're not at Cranfield. Like we've just been discussing there, you can pause partway through, and if for whatever reason you can't make a certain week on site, then we had people on our course who sort of paused and didn't attend that week and then came back the following year with the following cohort. So don't worry too much about that. But I think it's just having that time and flexibility outside of those dates that Soroosh brought up at the top of the show. Just make sure you've got it there and agreed with your employer as well, because if you're going down that apprenticeship route, you need to log that 20% of your time that you're taking to complete these assignments, to do your reading, to do all of those things. So just make sure you've got that there.
James, thank you. Sam, your recommendations. If you had your time again, what would you recommend?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, get on with it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for sure, James is completely right. I think for me, the best recommendation that I could give would be to, ensure that it's the right course for you, and ensure that you are right for the course, and absolutely make sure that you discuss it at length with your family, if you have a family to discuss it with,
or dogs.
Or dogs, particularly dogs that fight in the background. But yeah, it is a significant undertaking of work, and I think if I had my time again, I would. I'd really take some time to think about that. I'd absolutely make the same decision, of course, but I think at certain points that became not overwhelming, but it became quite hard to manage. And so I think you need to go into it with your eyes open, and not kind of underestimate the amount of cognitive burden you're about to put upon yourself, in honesty. And that extends to your workplace as well. Make sure that your employer is well on board with this. Thankfully, I was lucky. The business I worked for was super supportive, allowed me to take the time that I needed to do it. But that would be my biggest recommendation. Make sure the course is right for you, and that higher learning is right for you, and you are right for the course. Make sure that you're aligned with your family and your life outside of work, and make sure you're aligned with the business that you work for, that this is going to, it is going to at times eat into the sort of bandwidth of energy that you have available.
Ben, you've heard from James and Sam there. Recommendations, do they ring true? And what are your course hacks, as it were?
Yeah, they definitely ring true, really. Yes, I definitely agree with what James and Sam there. And just to add, really, like for me, so one of the things that was mentioned earlier was around about having a mentor to support you through the apprenticeship within work. And for me, that's also very important to make sure that if you decided that the course is right for you, make sure that you seek out a mentor. It doesn't have to. I mean, my mentor is not my line manager; it's the director of my department. So I've got somebody who's really supportive of what I want to do in my own development and sees the value in what I'm doing. So that's also quite important too. So I would recommend for anybody to make sure you get a supportive mentor to help you throughout the apprenticeship, and also somebody as well. So for me, because it's a director of my department, can also open opportunities where I may need to develop throughout the program, and that type of thing. So somebody who can really help you develop and open those doors for you as you progress, really. Some of my key hacks kind of mentioned it previously, but again, just making sure that you're scheduling time for yourself to do some of the pre-reading that's needed for when you're attending lectures, making sure that that you come in organised and focused throughout the day. Try to minimise distractions. I mean, I have heard some people said when they first started the course that they thought that they could potentially do some work while they're on the course, and for me that is just not a possibility either. The course is that intense, and the lectures get that involved, and the subject matter goes into quite a lot of detail, and also really rewarding that you really need to come into the lectures focused and ready to learn and reduce those outside distractions, whether it be work or personal, again, like personal commitments and that type of thing. Really, I think, as Sam alluded to, making sure that if you do have a family, making sure that you've got agreed, kind of an agreed way of working with them. Really, I mean, I'm quite fortunate in that sense that I don't currently have a family at the moment, but that's kind of helped me manage my time more effectively. But
thank you. That's fantastic advice. That's very sound advice. In the 30 seconds we have remaining, Soroosh, last piece of advice to people thinking of coming on the course.
No, I think my colleagues addressed them very correctly. Just make sure this is the right course for you and you have all the preparation for that. And I just highlight again, in terms of entry requirements, have a chat with me if you are not 100% sure, and then we can double check that and then make sure you have a strong application to join the course.
You heard it here first. Wow, it's been fantastic. So James Guyett, Sam Eastwood and Ben King, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Lauren Mason, thank you. And Soroosh, thank you very much indeed. Fantastic. We hope to see you at Cranfield. Please keep those conversations going. Studio production today was by Marco Gomez. My name is Toby Thompson. Thank you for watching.